back to Bioshock Infinite. This is the
That's
19th
not it.
episode.
Certainly is.
Should we get on right to it?
Is.
Try again.
All right.
Hold on.
Here you are.
Booker, we've got to stop them.
No, that's the E.
No, that is
Booker,
certainly
hurry.
No, it's not.
It is.
Isn't.
Is.
Isn't.
Is.
Try again.
No, you try.
Fine.
Stop it!
No, that is not it.
Stop it! You don't
Here
know
you
what
are.
you're doing! There it is. You've done it now. He's coming back. He's coming back.
The notes were correct.
The instrument was not.
One needs both to get his attention.
But if you know how to sing to him,
He will take you where you need to go.
Who are you?
we are where we are needed.
And needed where we are.
So Comstock uses these songs. Well, there others we can use? Something to keep the bird off our back?
Perhaps you should ask the maestro himself.
So where is he? Of course. Well, at least they left the piano.
Alright, so once again, I'm Solon, this is Rainy Day Let's Play, and in our last episode we got through a lot of the problematic
That's Comstock House.
parts of the game,
If we're gonna find him, we should start there.
and now we are on the other side of not only the town itself, but also the other side of the rift, where we jumped dimensions or jumped some kind of weird rift in space-time, and now Vox Populi are in control of everything, so this is kind of the fallout of the dystopia that we've kind of been leading up to.
You need to remove your belongings or we can't take any more people. The barge is full. You're going to have to remove some of your luggage if we're going to fit more people on deck.
Now, this is a really blunt scene, but probably one of the best ones they put together as a... especially because you can move around and play within the space, as opposed to listening to like an audio log describing this all happening. You can tell they put a lot of time and effort into that. Oh god, my keyboard is kind of being a dork, so might have some issues for a little bit. Anyway, for today's episode, it's going to be a toasty long one to get through a lot of little things, but for today's episode we're actually going to take things in a different direction and ask a question about the game to kind of complicate some of the reasons that it went about with this specific design. And that question is, why Booker? Nearly every game, including the original Bioshock, is very content with giving you an emotionally blank character to play with, a doll that you mold based on the constraints the game allows. There you go. I was gonna die. So, you get a doll that you mold based on the constraints that the game allows you to mold that doll. But Bioshock Infinite is not content with that. There's an intentional purpose that explains why we're reminded in every scene of the game about who exactly Booker DeWitt is. Bioshock and Irrational Games has a history with toying around with player agency and control, and the first Bioshock gives you the white man with a tattoo of a chain and then sets you free within the tight, confined halls of Rapture. That's about it. That's all they give you. You know that he's a white, he's a man, and he's got chain tattoos. That's strictly from his hands and from the intro scene.
Here!
Now, we're given Booker DeWitt, the Pinkerton agent who can explore the multiverse at his leisure now. Levine, as a writer, loves to explore how much power he gives the player, and in this game, he has given Booker extraordinary power, and the player almost none. I mean, the player makes choices, but doesn't necessarily create changes in the story, despite DeWitt now being able to travel the multiverse. The player is confined to the rails of an extraordinarily linear game, which is purposeful. That's a very meaningful thing, and I want to say that this is where Bioshock Infinite's most powerful expression shines. It swings and misses a whole lot of other themes, and we'll talk about that in other episodes, but this is one part of Bioshock Infinite that is fully fleshed out in a rewarding way. In an artistic way, which to me means that
Did
it
you take a look
creates
at this
more
rock?
questions than it answers, and
What is
in
it
that
about
way,
song that brings
that it
in the
pertains
bird?
to a larger human
Always
experience.
has. When I was younger, I used to be excited when I heard it.
Excited.
He was all I had. He fed me, brought me books. He was my friend
Friend.
until I grew up. And I hated him because he was my warden. He's just Comstock's pet, isn't he? Just like me. Got it.
Wow, just in unlocking a door, we kind of get this really nice... Oh, scalps.
Look at this.
For serious?
Fitzroy's no better than Comstock. Was she?
Once people get their blood up, it ain't easy to settle it down again.
That's
This is on our
messed
hands,
up.
isn't it?
Did the Vox Populi put those scalps on the wall? Or did the designers put the scalps on the wall? Anyway, this is not for this episode. That's for the last 3 episodes. I feel like I hit that pretty hard. So I just wanted to say that was really cool that we have this relational dynamic between the songbird and Elizabeth, and they really expressed that really well in that scene. So, and it was just in a we were just trying to pick a lock, and that was it. And then you get this
You don't think anyone
thing.
can really see the future, do you?
I saw something once when I first got here. A dream. It was New York, but larger than any New York I ever saw. It was burning.
Hope none of the prophet's magic is rubbing off on you.
So anyway, coming back to how this theme of Booker DeWitt himself as a person is gives reason for such a dynamic shift in the modern AAA game design being focused on player agency. So constants and variables. This is the one rule to Bioshock Infinite's multiverse. The understood space matrices that make up the multiverse have specific points where specific non-trivial events remain always the same, and then other specific non-trivial events diverge. The power behind this is that the entire multiverse ends up centering around Booker. Just like in a game where its infinite possibilities centers around the actions of the player. So that's an amazing statement in and of itself. So, however, in this game, I'll let her go on.
They, well, at least she, invented the technology that allows the city to float.
Giant balloons.
Quantum particles, suspended in space-time at a fixed height.
So, not giant balloons?
But the thing is, my book said they disappeared several years ago.
I told you they'd come.
No, you didn't.
Right. I was going to tell you they'd come.
But you didn't.
But I don't.
You sure that's right?
Something tells me they're not exactly what they appear.
I was going
Yep,
to
it's all
have
quantum
told you
mechanics
they'd
and
come.
space-time.
The subjunctive?
That's not the subjunctive.
I don't think the syntax has been invented yet.
It would have had to have it been.
Does grammar really matter?
That can't be right.
They seem to want to help.
They seem to be out of their
Odd,
minds.
isn't it?
What's odd?
The fact that we sometimes...
Finish each other's sentences.
Exactly.
It would be odder if we didn't.
How do you suppose they manage that?
I'll get back to you after I figure out the floating
Alright,
city.
Elizabeth, you ever watched Doctor Who? It's kind of like that, except not at all. Elizabeth, she's probably seen Doctor Who. Or at least, like,
Come on.
one of her friends
Comstock
showed it
House
to
is
her
up
on
ahead.
Netflix or something, because, you know, who hasn't seen that? She's probably seen something on Tumblr or something. Anyway, so the power behind this that the Luteces are kind of explaining is that the multiverse entirely centers around Booker. So in this game, poor Booker is trapped within his own
Seed of
existence,
the prophet,
while the
just
player
like
has
the
no
throne.
way to proceed
He was grooming
but
me,
forward
wasn't he?
through
Sounds like-
Booker's
yeah, I think
almost
so.
Shakespearean
Why lock me up?
comedy
Well, I'm guessing
of
they didn't want it.
a predestined video game character straight through to its conclusion.
Forever. Ha! Look at him now.
You can hear that's Shiny Happy People by R.E.M. in the background. Revamped for the 1920s kind of crooning sounds.
If there's anyone who could hear the sound of my voice, these are dire times, and I could ever so use your aid.
Alright, so now at this point within the story, we are essentially trying to find Comstock as quickly as possible.
Need money? Here you go.
No, okay, I do need money. For whatever arbitrary reason, money is needed. We gotta open up a back door and just see it's full of shiny stuff. Some just what's it everywhere. So my my follow-up question to this kind of contemplating and complicating and deconstructing why we have a main character like Booker is to ask, why do we play video games? Which is a question that can be answered a billion ways and definitely doesn't just finish here. But the contemporary AAA video games argue that we play video games because of the wide array of identities it allows the player to take on, the choices that only a computer could manage and manipulate for its players, and Bioshock Infinite doesn't do that. Instead, Infinite does the exact opposite.
Comstock, when we next meet, it won't be the parlor. See, I went out to that Hall of Heroes to scalp your false shepherd for you. Turns out, though, DeWitt speaks Sioux. He helped me to swap words with this crippled child I've been, looking after. Now, after hearing how the kid has fared in your city, I'm thinking when we take your pelt, I'll let him hold the knife.
Preston Downs has turned into a homicidal maniac for one side into a homicidal maniac for the other side, just by talking to Booker. I have no words for that, except in one audio log we have an entire character change, and also he's apparently taking care of a Sioux child. For whatever reason that is. Other hand though, that's adorable pressing you down to the soft side. And not just a, I want to murder the entire world, like, madness, Dog the Bounty Hunter style. Okay, so Bioshock Infinite definitely does not take anything similar to, like, the Skyrim path or the, what is it? The Saints Row path of what we kind of come to know as AAA video game development, where you give the player a whole bunch of choices, or give the player a whole bunch of identities or things to play with, and instead it tries to limit the player, and it limits the player in almost every way that it can, besides, I mean, even down to, like, you can only hold 2 guns. It confines the players to the rails of its story, while constantly dangling freedom out in front of them. Hey, you're gonna make it, you're gonna make it, you're gonna make it. Bioshock is like being at a rodeo where the bulls ride the bull rider. And that's a cool thing. That's something that is still very inherent to games, the rejection of the opposites and stuff. It's like the complementary to video games or something like that. The lack of player agency as a form of control and power over the player, especially within game studies where it's constantly exclaimed where games must have a variable state of conclusion.
Found some money. Take it.
So that's Makin' Whoopee in the background is the song that's playing right now. And that's a song that has been covered
Can you
by
unlock this?
pretty much everyone. Frank Sinatra, Fitzgerald.
It's
Oh
done.
God, who else? Louis Armstrong? Yeah, lots of people. Good song. Well enjoyed.
Come on, lift the leg, friend.
I think we're kind of like going... I'm trying to figure out what this area is, because it's such a kind of bland area, but I think it's like the transit depot that we're like heading backwards through to the main square again. We're trying to get back to the main square so we can... I'm trying to figure out... I think that the water power only has purpose to like push people off of stuff. Not totally sure what the purpose is otherwise. And we can't push anyone off of anything in here because it's just a closed area. Oh, poor water power, you're so just bland. That's okay though. That's why we have other powers. So, we're talking about player agency and the lack thereof, which is a very strange way to do things right now. The video game studies constantly talks about how games have to have this variable state, and a conclusion, a win state and a lose state. Instead, in this game, we get the entire multiverse, and it all colludes together to force a single state upon the player, and then never letting them go. So, basically, to kind of end all of this critique, like the multiverse itself, there are tons of directions this critique could go. Exploring the blandness of infinite shooting scenes, like we are currently doing by playing the game. Gaming the carrot and the stick relationship of plot and the narrative. Complicating the ludonarrative dissonance of the first Bioshock. You also have Elizabeth's role as arbiter for the player. And even the multiverse and freedom itself, of course, as themes. Each of these critiques has its own constants and variables, but
Thanks.
to explore all of these would kind of put me at a loss. So at this point, I leave it up to you to explore within the comments below in whatever ways, because this could very well be the last time that I speak, well, glowingly about Bioshock Infinite. And you might want to just savor it, hold on to it, because besides the cool ways in which Bioshock Infinite complicates ideas of player agency by, like, destroying it entirely, not much else that awesome going on for this game.
Do it. Now.
Okay.
Woo! Love putting up cover for guys coming down the stairs to the left. Super useful. That wish fulfillment thing is like more like wish nothing. Why would I want cover right there?
Catch, Booker.
Much obliged.
I'm not sure if this depot is huge because it like needs to be this huge for Columbia to run. Because we've had other places that are like way smaller than this. The entire boardwalk area is smaller than this area. And so I'm wondering if this is just a huge giant area just to be a huge giant area. Emporia is kind of a strange place. Especially for being a gateway, I'm just kind of thinking about how we got up here to Columbia, which right when you had that first area where you're like, alright, we're going up, how the hell are we going to get back down? I guess it's a bit easier to go back down than coming back up, because you had the ship at the very beginning of this episode that was like, I'm gonna go take off now with like 20 people and some huge suitcases. We're just gonna fall down. Oh, sorry, Elizabeth. Oh, man. Could have used the crank gun earlier. It's okay. You don't need ammo to kill bad guys. You just need for them to run at you and explode. Oh, there's all these just bodies everywhere.
Elizabeth, little help?
Okay,
And I'm just gonna shamelessly loot all of them.
ready.
Ah, we're almost there.
There you go.
Don't give any.
Okay, the goal is to just jump over whatever's gonna pop out at us from the sides. Hopefully take care of them from above, since I don't have ammo to do anything else. Oh, we're dealing with sniper rifle stuff. Okay. We can do this.
Reloading. Thank you.
Yeah, I have no idea how a sniper rifle works. I think there's like one end,
Those
like some kind of
turnstiles are one way.
thing comes out of the
Should
other
we check
end.
out the
and you
bookstore
just
before we
don't
leave?
point that end at yourself, and then you win. There we go, hand cannon. That's exactly what I needed. What I've been looking for this entire time. Aw, man, a side
Locked.
door.
Elizabeth?
Really? That little old lock.
Are you mocking me?
There you go.
I'm still not feeling it with that whole dress change thing.
Here's some cash.
Great.
That is fan service I ever saw.
Brother, what Comstock failed to understand is that our contraption is a window not into prophecy, but probability. But his money means the Lutece field could become the Lutece tear, a window between worlds, a window through which you and I might finally be together.
Huh. So that's a complicated thing. First off, prophecy and probability within the scientific method are pretty much the same thing. Especially if you're in economics, the entire idea of probability is to create prophecy. So maybe it's kind of a weird thing to conflate the two in different ways. Opposite thing being that Luteces are not originally together.
The bastard snuck in while the Vox was shooting up the place and took my girl. Got her locked up in the Salty Oyster, his hidden closet he keeps all his treasures. Just need to hit the button under the register to open it, but...
Ow! Ronald Frank just gave us a secret side quest and I recognized it and now I have to go do it. I don't know what's going to be over there, but I could have just not dealt with it at all and been totally fine. I'm just going to have to... Whoa! Okay. Okay, put some pants on that do some cool stuff. If I do overkill damage like you constantly do with the hand cannon, it electrocutes people. Which is going to be really nice in groups. Anyways, I'm going to get lost for about 3.5 minutes trying to find the Salty Oyster. And so I'm going to just... Oh, get my leg. Oh, there's all my bullets.
Here! Ammo!
Apparently you can't just backtrack and be okay. You have to wade through a whole bunch of bad guys. Or maybe I didn't go through this way. I went through like a side way. That probably sounds more like what I'd do. This place is kind of a giant maze. But wow, those Minotaur guys just take a lot of damage. Okay, so 3 minutes of dawdling later, we are at the Salty Oyster to finally hit the button underneath the register to make hopefully something good happen.
Booker.
Hate to come out all the way out here for some lockpicks or something. Also, Elizabeth reminded us that was happening. That's kind of cool. Alright, new, Vigor. That's the one.
Press to generate a magnetic shield. Hold to absorb damage, and release to throw it back. hold and release to create an explosive trap.
Always with the holding and the releasing to explode the traps. Okay, stupid name, stupid graphics, but holy crap, we have metallurgy powers.
We just risked our lives for a bit of titillation?
I think I knew her. Worked at a bar on Houston Street.
I bet you did.
Awkward. We were roommates in college.
You have been transfused, brother, into a new reality. But your body rejects the cognitive dissonance through confusion and hemorrhage. But we are together, and I will mend you. For what separates us now but a single chromosome?
Huh, okay, so we have the genetic idea that chromosomes make up everything that you are, the difference between man and woman being one chromosome, they are twins. That's what the thing is identifying. However, we do not know if Robert Lutis is dead, or is some kind of weird para-dimensional thing, and don't get much of a good idea of what's going on. Either way, we are out of there, and we can finally run right back to through the turnstiles that we were.
Lock when we pass through. We won't be able to return.
I get it, we won't be able to return. That's fine. We'll just. How'd you get through so quickly? It's a dumb question, apparently. Shouldn't have even asked.
Can you open this?
It's a simple dual dial lock. My book said most fools keep the combination no more than 20 feet away.
Let's hope we find one of those fools.
We'll interrogate them, Liam Neeson style. Take them by the scruff of their collar and punch them until the answers fall out of their
Found
heads.
some money. Here you go.
Which is exactly how memories work. Anyway, you can't just walk into a simple elevator scene, and you have to find the code to the elevator scene to go
Why are
down.
you so keen on lockpicking and code breaking?
If you put a person in a cage, they develop an interest in such things.
I suppose so.
And I won't be locked up again.
Oh god, the robot saw us! Hello, Clarice. Bird just does not give a shit about personal property. We try to keep this place nice. Songbird has to come in and destroy everything.
Elizabeth.
And she gone. Alright, cue elevator scene.
Elizabeth, you...
Promise me.
I will stop him.
Oh, I don't even get to put the code in.
That is an oath you cannot keep. But promise me that if it comes to it, you will not let him take me back.
It won't come to that. All right?
So it'll probably come to that. Just by the rules of foreshadowing. Anyway, going down one more elevator. We're finally out of Emporia. Thank you so much for watching this very long episode. We will see you next time on Rainy Day Let's Play.